reports of a large seismic event off the California coast, with reports of power outages across the United States.
San Francisco's luxury high-rise, the Millennium Tower, looks like it will keep sinking, but no one knows exactly how much it will sink.
Homeowners in luxury San Francisco high-rise are furious this morning over their sinking investment, you could call it. The 58-story Millennium Tower has reportedly sunk 16 inches. It's also, by the way, leaning toward the Pacific.
You can see that this building is being settled.
Ray Sullivan, a geologist with San Francisco State University, leads tours of the city's sinking and leaning buildings.
One feature the Dodsons hadn't counted on.
These devices are what?
They're stress gauges.
Dozens of stress gauges dot the walls of the Millennium Tower's basement. They measure in millimeters the slow growth of cracks along the columns that rise up from the building's foundation.
There's enough of them, a spider web of cracks, that you have to be concerned about what's going on underneath.
These cracks are one of the only visual clues that there's anything profoundly wrong here.
Well, you haven't heard too much about the drought lately, but tonight, a reminder that it still haunts us. Despite last year's record winter, one part of California is still sinking.
Yeah, I had to add some length onto these pipes because I couldn't open the door anymore.
Canal skirts buckled, bridges failed, and homes started sprouting cracks. It's an incredible idea that this big chunk of the valley is rising and falling, sort of like it's drawing a breath every year.
Sneed's colleague, Claudia Font, took me to see some of the damages subsidence has already caused.
I mean, what do we got going on here? And I mean, it's really buckling.
Yeah, and a few years ago when I was here, it wasn't nearly this bent, so it's showing evidence of continuing to warp even more.
These canals deliver water to farms and cities throughout Southern California, including Los Angeles.
And this isn't the only one I see. I mean, I see it here, I see it right down there, and I see a third one.
Yeah, and there's another one up that direction as well.
So this can be happening to the bridges, to the roadways, to the railroads.
Correct. In fact, there's a bridge right down the road from here that the water level is now coming up over the base of the road because that area has sunk.
When I went to see the bridge, the flood risk was clear.
The water level has risen up so high now that it would go right over the surface of the road if they hadn't built these retaining walls to keep it back.
But hydrologist Michelle Sneed is alarmed by how quickly the ground is sinking.
I've never measured rates like this before.
According to NASA, some parts of the Central Valley are now sinking more than 2 inches a month.
We saw that the area being affected by subsidence was enormous, stretching all the way from I-5 to 99. About 1,200 square miles were being affected by subsidence.
That's an area the size of Rhode Island, and it is sunk permanently.
If Napa was a wake-up call, then this is one of the many voicemail messages, if you will. This ruptured sidewalk sitting right atop the Hayward Fault. Running more than 50 miles up and down the heavily populated East Bay area, the Hayward Fault hides in plain sight. Cracks and misaligned sidewalks foretell a frightening future.
We're standing on probably the most seismically dangerous fault in the Bay Area.
Has it gone before?
It's gone repeatedly. The last time was in 1868.
It's one of 3 fault lines scientists are concerned about.
And the cracks just started appearing as I was standing there.
A Folsom woman says a 4-foot crack erupted on the side of her home, and then others started to appear inside her home.
I jumped back, and as I jumped back, the cracks kind of followed me.
Pearl Woods was mowing her lawn when she says the ground beneath her separated.
It was really scary. At first, I thought it was a subwoofer driving by.
But instead,
we found the 4-foot one, guys. So we are just over 4 feet at 55 inches into the ground.
She then began to realize another crack stretched straight through the kitchen and all around from wall to wall. So what's causing the ground to shift?
You really can't tell what's going on until you drill into the soil. You know, there's been speculation this is there or that's there, we don't know.
But is it safe?
From looking at it, from what we can see, everything looks okay now.
Okay isn't exactly comforting.
They're deeming it safe, although no one's saying officially it is safe.
little mini quakes are really getting on my nerves, Randy.
Come on, a little surface crack? You're not going to be inconvenienced by that.
Right, surface cracks. I got a plastic surgeon for that, right?
No kidding. Thank God for those shake-proof coffee mugs. They show the true nature of us Californians. We're not bound to these little inconveniences.
Janet Solorio is one of about 50 residents being evacuated from her home because of a growing crack on Rattlesnake Ridge. The massive land continues to spread around a foot to 1.4 feet per week. At its steepest point, the crack goes down about 250 feet, with the possibility of sliding onto homes and the nearby highway.
When it comes to the big one, experts agree that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. One of the scenarios calls for a 7.8 earthquake on the San Andreas, and that would rock Southern California for hundreds of miles, and the damage could last months or even years.
So what happens for people who are concerned that this is just the beginning? There are more to come.
We have a scenario earthquake where we expect a large earthquake, a 7.8. Going from the Salton Sea past Palm Springs through the San Bernardino city limits. Well, we're right in that fault zone here with this one this morning. This could be a foreshock. Not saying it is. We don't have the ability to tell that. The main thing is you're living in California. When you wake up every morning, you ought to know that a big earthquake could occur today, just like the folks in Leilani Estates know that every morning they wake up, a lava flow could destroy their houses. Their reality is going on now.
From California to Colorado, tonight this is what firefighters face and fear. 21 large uncontained wildfires ripping across the West.
Flames are burning across 7 states this morning. The National Weather Service issued red flag warnings for parts of Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming. In Colorado, more than 3,000 homes are evacuated this morning. The largest and most threatening fire has burned more than 27,000 acres.
Off to a fast and dangerous start. Oh my God. This year's wildfire season exploding out of control in New Mexico, California, and Colorado. In 24 hours, Durango's so-called 416 fire nearly doubled in size, 22,000 acres destroyed. The evacuation of at least 2,100 homes.
It's probably time to go.
Back in Colorado, the 416 may just be getting started.
This is going to be a large fire that's going to be on this landscape for a long time.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's hollowed out the tree. There's a fire in Shelville, and it's going straight up the middle of a tree.
I wanted to try to capture a video of the very odd amber hue of the light over San Francisco right now. It's very eerie. I kind of doubt it's gonna pick up very well on the video, but it definitely is something noticeable